Hello everyone. I received another query, and this one is from someone who has over a decade of experience in GRC domain. He wrote that I have an interview lined up later this week, and one of the key topics is adoption of I will not name the tool, the GRC tool across a large enterprise. I will be grateful for your guidance on the 12-month roadmap for driving adoption and KPIs to monitor progress. Any reference documents will be highly appreciated. So basically, you're looking for a guidance for how to go with the implementation of a GRC tool. So the very first thing is that we'll keep it interview separate and then the practical experts separate. But practically, if you are buying an GRC tool, fine, your vendor will have the project plan. Fine, they will give you a project plan that how they will implement this and how to suit your requirements. Fine, and probably you have to maybe supervise, contribute, lead that effort from the organizational perspective, but the vendor will give you a plan and you have to understand if that plan works well for your organization or not. And as you know, you are going for the interview, you're new to the organization, you don't know how the culture is, how the things are working there. Probably you will also take some time to understand the organization, how mature they are, and what is the right strategy to build this GRC, to implement this GRC tool. Right. So I will say, like, you can take two approaches. One is either you pick up a base standard, for example ISO 27001, and you implement this completely with the help of the vendor and entire cycle of the complete management system if you can implement, and then you can integrate further more standards, the controls from the other standard, for example PCI DSS, high trust, and whatever. So, and you can also add maybe contextual requirements, whatever you have, right? So start with a base implementation and then keep adding more requirements to the same ecosystem. This is one approach. Second approach can be your policy, if it is aligned with all your requirements, right? You can integrate your policies first into the GRC tool, and then build the different modules step by step. Right? My experience is little different in this case. When my last corporate job, I was also part of the implementation team of the GRC tool, and we had that agreement with the vendor that they will be implementing ISO 27001. They will be running one cycle of it and then they will leave. But somehow things did not go well, and they just released that tool for us. They gave us the access, they did something, but most of the things were not done and we were stuck. And we were stuck not only because of the vendor did not support, we were also having internal challenges. And the challenges, and very first thing, as a standard practice, what somebody will say is, okay, go and integrate your risk management, because risk management is a base for the entire GRC. So that, and when it comes to implementing security controls also, you look at the risk management. So but to my experience, in my implementation, we could not integrate our risk management for the entire first year. We only started building the risk register on the GRC platform in the next year, and the reason was because our risk register was shared with the top management, and we didn't want it to present something to the top management or grant something or maybe grant access to the top management for the dashboard which is not matured. Fine. So we wanted to build everything and then do all the integrate the risk assessment with the audit perspective also. If any requirements are failing, then also we need to identify the risk, and then add this, need to be added to risk register. Then what risk will be presented to the management, what risk will not be, what qualifies to be added to the risk management, what doesn't qualify to be. There were a lot of things were involved. So as a conclusion, right, there cannot be a standard practice that you will go and simply say, okay, these are 10 steps I will follow and I will be able to implement the GRC tool in my organization. You have to see how mature the organization is, what the organization challenges are, and how you can proceed with what the management expectations are, and then how you will basically strategize to not disrupt the existing processes and also transfer the processes or transition those manual work into the GRC domain. And so in our case, basically we started with the integrating our, like, for example, one of the activity which first integrated was we added the policy to the GRC tool. Second activity we integrated was altogether different, not part of the, again, if you look at the clause 4 to clause 10, not part of the clause 4 to clause 10 of the ISO standard. Second activity we integrated was fetching data from HRMS, fetching data from Active Directory and finding the gaps of the, like, how many IDs are extra into Active Directory, right? And that project itself took us like more than 1.5 years to resolve all these gaps basically, fine. We are part of larger organization, fine, and again the things doesn't go as you think that, okay, it looks like a very small project, but everyone has their own priorities. That's why I'm saying it is very much dependent on how your organization is, what your challenges are, and what kind of support you have available, right? And this is a enterprise wide initiative, or it is an initiative of your GRC domain only, your GRC team only. So there are a lot of specifics to strategize the implementation, right? Go there, see what the situation is, talk to people, look at their priorities, look at what can be again, go with a smaller like changes, the changes which doesn't impact the other teams much, fine. And once it is kind of implemented, working effectively, then you can probably start like bring in more controls into the, or more operations into the GRC tool. But this is my personal recommendation. People who are into purely into the GRC tool implementation, they may have a different approach, fine. But my approach is from my experience basically, fine. And my experience I shared with you. We had the risk register shared with the top management, and we had our own challenges, fine. Vendors also supported to some extent, and then they also started charging us, fine, for anything extra we wanted to get things done. So they started charging us, and the charges are very expensive. And so we ended up basically, because we are from the software, like we are into digital transformation business, so we had the software development teams in-house. So we basically used our one of the internal resource, right, to make some customizations on the GRC as well, on the GRC tool as well. It may look very weird to you, but this is how we did it actually, fine. So again, go with confidence, look at the situation, what it is, and for others who are probably looking for the same kind of solution, same kind of guidance, so there cannot be a just fixed path. You have to look into how, like, what are the challenges you are trying to solve and what the current problems are, fine. And then only you can strategize it, fine. You have to understand the organization, understand people before you set up the plan, fine. I hope this was useful, and thank you so much for watching this. If you have further questions, please feel free to ask me through Ask Me a Question campaign. Thank you so much.